We're here. Hello everybody.
There.
How you doing, guys?
How are you diddling? Good.
All right.
Good, you?
I was a little bit seat of our pants again. Another close call.
Yes.
But we're here.
Yeah, indeed.
Technically, it's Happy Empire Day, everybody.
Woo!
Yes.
40 years to the day since
Empire Day.
the best film ever made.
How have you been celebrating Empire Day?
Me personally,
I spoke to Darth Vader this morning.
yeah, that's true. I spoke to him not so long ago as well.
yeah.
We'll get to that.
Should we let people know the news now?
Yeah.
Nah, we'll let it sit.
Right.
We'll let it sit for a bit.
Suspense.
Yeah. Suspense. Okay, so should we do a little bit of Star Wars news first, and then I've got I might even have a rant up my sleeve for later on for Matt.
Ooh.
Hey.
Ooh.
Okay. Let's do some news first. So, hot off the press, Timothy Oliphant is going to be joining The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. Where is it? There it is.
Wearing Boba Fett's outfit, apparently.
Yeah. The whole Boba Fett idea is getting weirder and weirder by the day, isn't it? In terms of Mandalorian. Yeah. But anyway, let's have a quick look at this. So, and then I'll tell you about Timothy Oliphant afterwards. So, Star Wars: The Mandalorian Season 2 casts Timothy Oliphant as sheriff in Boba Fett armor. Yeah, Timothy Oliphant is joining the star-studded cast of Mandalorian Season 2 in a role that, if the reports are true, will definitely surprise fans of the show and the Star Wars universe. While THR was the first outlet to report that Oliphant had been cast in the second season, it's Slash Film that has the scoop on who the actor is playing on the show. Is probably not who you would expect. According to Slash Film, Oliphant is set to play Cobb Vanth, a self-appointed sheriff living in a Tatooine settlement called Freetown. That sounds very Mad Max, doesn't it?
Mm.
The minor character was first introduced in 3 brief interludes in the Aftermath novels written by Chuck Wendig. Hey, good old Chuck. You love him, don't you? So, coming back, his story is told by 3 different narrators who recount how Vanth protected Freetown from gangs and cut a deal with the Tusken Raiders to protect his settlement. Formerly a slave who freed himself at some point during the original trilogy, Vanth acquires a chest full of old Mandalorian armor from Jawa scavengers. It's strongly hinted that this armor is in fact Boba's old armor, all that remained of the bounty hunter after he was swallowed whole by the Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi. Slash Film says that Oliphant did indeed shoot scenes in Boba Fett's old armor, suggesting that it's the sheriff who made a cameo in the season 1 episode, The Gunslinger, and not Fett himself. If it's actually Vanth wearing Mandalorian armor and not Boba Fett, what does this mean for the fan favorite Boba Fett? Well, it means he's dead, doesn't it? Who is also reportedly set to appear on The Mandalorian Season 2. Previous reports have suggested that Fett's part in the show is a small one, with Attack of the Clones actor Tamara Morrison set to play the role, since Boba Fett is a clone of his original prequel character Jango Fett. Could Boba Fett's return on the show simply be a flashback set before Return of the Jedi? The fact that Vanth is now wearing his armor could mean that Boba actually did die inside the Sarlacc pit all those years ago, and that the cameo in The Gunslinger was a red herring all along. With season 2 already chock full of big time cameos, Rosario Dawson to play Ashoka Tano. Have we discussed that yet? I don't think briefly.
We've touched on it, yeah.
Katie Sackhoff will reprise her role as Bo-Katan Kryze. Is that right? This potential Boba Fett twist could breathe a breath of fresh air and an interesting way to subvert expectations. We love that phrase in the Star Wars universe, isn't it? Vanth was one of the more interesting minor characters to pop up in the expanded universe in the last few years, so it's exciting to see the blah, 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 blah. So yeah, how do you feel about that?
I didn't know that the episode The Gunslinger. I knew it was Boba Fett because the sound. I don't know if people know, but the sound effect they use, this guy walks onto screen, and you can hear the jingle that from Boba Fett's suit, that when he walks past Vader after the Han Solo against Vader scene, Boba Fett walks out from the right of frame, and that sound effect was used in the Mandalorian TV show. And I thought, anyone who knows Star Wars, that they meant us to know that it was Boba Fett.
I pretty much got it straight away when I saw that episode, you know?
Yeah.
That's Boba Fett. I've spoken to you about it. I've had it. Like, I swear it was Boba Fett.
Yeah,
because you see the cloak, don't you? You see the sort of...
Absolutely. Well, it's on Tatooine as well.
It's on Tatooine, yeah.
Yeah, so it makes sense that he's still there.
Yeah, so apparently Timothy Oliphant isn't that nice a bloke.
Oh, right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kevin Smith had a bit of a run-in with him on a film called Catch and Release. He said he was just quite disparaging about Kevin in front of like everyone on set.
Oh,
really? That's not very nice.
That's not cool.
So they call him. Kevin Smith calls him Tim Olifantastic, which I think might be slightly sarky.
I only know him from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that Quentin Tarantino film. He was good in that.
He was good in that. I actually watched that the other night.
What did you think?
I haven't
hated
seen that one yet.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's Last Jedi. It is. It's Marmite.
It has been Marmite for a lot of people.
I think it's terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
But just as an aside, I mean, it's one of them things. Like, I know that and I don't think you have a problem with this, Andy, but I know a lot of people are just like, oh, it's very long and not much happens. But
I don't mind that.
I've never been averse to a long movie and stuff, and I was fine with that.
Everybody said that about the Two Towers, like cut the tree beard stuff, and I'm like, no, I love it.
Yeah,
I love that long drawn out stuff.
I'd have been happy if they added more to Lord of the Rings, like Tom Bombadil and all that. Pack it in with all that stuff, you know. We need.
Yeah.
I even
8.5 hour film.
I even like Leonardo DiCaprio in it, and that doesn't happen very often.
Is that right? I think
I'm not a big fan of his.
I'm a DiCaprio.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of his, but I thought he was good in that. Yeah, I enjoyed it. But still, I mean, to be honest, with this news, I think I'd prefer it to be somebody else in Boba Fett's costume than being Boba Fett. You
think Boba should have died?
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't know what the storyline is going to be yet. So he's wearing the Boba Fett armor. You could still, I don't know. I mean,
or have they done it? Have they done it this way to see how the fans will react, so they can go, like, people are okay with him coming back, let's make it Boba Fett. People aren't okay, it's not Boba Fett. I think that's
maybe
that'd be a good way to do it, because we've already recently brought back a villain who apparently died in Return of the Jedi, and it didn't go down well.
That's right. Yeah.
So
yeah. One way to go.
I'm sorry, but if the Emperor can survive that, then Fett can survive the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah,
the thing is, George, the old EU, he survived, but I don't know if George approved of that or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't know if he bought that one. I think he was just, in general, fine with the EU stuff anyway, wasn't he? I think it just seemed to be quite open about it, really.
I think some of it he didn't like. I don't think he liked the Luke Mara Jade thing, but fans love that. Anyway.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping for in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something you didn't get. But there you go.
Anyway,
so
what will Morrison be doing in the Mandalorian? Is it just a flashback? Do you think?
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Right.
Unless he turns up and
I want my armor back.
Yeah. Get away from my armor, you bitch.
Yeah.
Bang.
Maybe he hires the Mandalorian to go and get his armor back for him. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
I don't think if the
When are you going to give us a job? Lucasfilm creative writing team.
I don't think the Mandalorian would do anything for Boba Fett because it's sacrilegious what Boba Fett's done. He's stolen. His dad stole.
That's right. True. Yeah.
He stole the Mandalorian out.
Yeah.
They're not Mandalorian, are they? So
no.
I think there could be a really cool Mandalorian Boba Fett off at some point in season 2 or 3.
Yeah. Cool.
I think it'd be pretty cool having him back as the actual Boba Fett. Yeah.
Well, Boba Fett was known as the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, wasn't he?
Mm.
And now in the Mandalorian, I think that Imperial, what's he called? Werner, the guy who plays him, that German director, Werner.
Wim Wenders.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he says something about him being the best in the parsec or the galaxy or something. And when that aired, I was like, Boba Fett's like, hold my beer. But you think that if the Mandalorian is a proper Mandalorian versus just someone who's a clone, I think the Mandalorian's probably going to win that fight.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah. Good point, actually.
He'll have to win it. The show is named after him, so he'll have to win.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Do you want to do a little bit of Star Wars prequel news, perhaps?
Yes.
Oh, hang on. We've got some comments in first.
Oh, cool.
Have a great show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks to the guys at Stars and Cars. Go over to their page and check out their live shows that they're putting on now, in absence of doing their live show this year. I was supposed to be meeting Jet from Gladiators at their event. I was going to ask her if she would consider hosting a barn dance at Yeovil Aerodrome.
It must not turn into an all-out rave.
It must not turn into an all-out rave. But unfortunately, I didn't get to ask that. But still, they're doing wonderful stuff. I think, they've got Rex Smith coming up on the next show, aka Street Hawk. So that'll be well worth a look. Also, Brian Young's on to say, evening, lads. Hello to you, sir.
Evening.
How are you doing?
Hello.
Member of the Fandom Menace, of course. Right, so let's do a bit more news. Lovely. So here's one for you. How Revenge of the Sith almost broke Star Wars. How about this one?
Did it?
Maybe did I play the wrong segment link then?
Yeah, it was the sinister one, wasn't it?
Well, that kind of works then. So anyway, let's have a little look through this. So 15 years after Episode 3 hit theaters, the film remains a cautionary tale that offers lessons for the future of the franchise. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is a film at war with itself. Director and co-writer George Lucas delivered his capper to the prequel trilogy 15 years ago on May 19th, 2005. To much-deserved fanfare as audiences were able to see the final tragic turns Anakin, Hayden Christensen, would take on his way to becoming Darth Vader and taking his place on the dark side. No! At the time of its release, audiences were on the verge of obsessive behavior around the film, thanks to an inescapable marketing campaign and the buzz of its early first screenings. That excitement had fans leaving theaters claiming Revenge of the Sith was the best of the creatively disappointing prequel trilogy or one of the best Star Wars movies ever. Of those two positions, the former has not held up over the last decade and a half. In hindsight, and long after the rush of the opening night has faded, Sith is arguably the movie that broke Star Wars. Like the other two prequels, it suffers from clunky narrative choices and problematic character drama that the original trilogy does not. Choices that are seemingly features and not bugs of Lucas's emotionally flat prequel experiment. Sith does many things different than Luke, Han, and Leia's movies, but none of them better, forcing the franchise into a deep carbonite freeze until Disney bought Lucasfilm and went on to release The Force Awakens in 2005.
Really? No,
I always hear this. It's not like the original trilogy, prequel trilogy. I'm like, well, of course it isn't. It had a different job to do, and thank God it was different, and it wasn't just a rehash. Because Lucas says this himself. He tries to make every film he does very different, and if you look at all the 6 Star Wars movies that George did, I think he achieved that. I do think they have a very different feel. The biggest contrasts are like Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back are quite different movies.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
and Return of the Jedi is Return of the Jedi is a bit like A New Hope, but it is its own thing. But not to go ranting about Disney because I'll leave that to Matt and Paddy. But look at Episode 7. I mean, there is poetry. Lucas talks about this, but he does it. Yeah, he just does a line here and there. He doesn't take the whole of A New Hope and put it in a Phantom Menace skin. He actually did a different kind of story. So I do remember a lot of people. It was a bit Marmite Revenge of the Sith. I remember people kicking off about it, and I loved it, and I still love it.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like after Revenge of the Sith, everything went quiet on Star Wars from until Disney bought it. Though that's not true. It's always been there in the background, whether it's been TV shows or what have you. But it's always been alive. So I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah, LucasArts was still going, and Lucasfilm was still working
video
on
games.
That's it. Well, it's from the Hollywood Reporter, so I'm sure we could take it with a pinch of salt. But I mean, to be honest, I don't think we even need to discuss their other reasons for saying that. There is a whole other oh God, there's a lot of there's about 8 paragraphs of their argument. I will just say, if you want to read it, just go to the Hollywood Reporter and read the article. I don't think we really need to drill down into that. I mean, at the end of the day, I liked it in general. I mean, it's not perfect. Hang on, we've got some comments here. Hi guys, I'm here. Hi Jason.
Hello.
A Citron sauce.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, excellent.
So somebody from Xbox over. Welcome, Xboxers.
Yeah.
Very important movie.
It was,
It's an important movie. Yeah. I mean, like I say, that there's a few things that aren't perfect, but general, I think it's the strongest of the three. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He kind of got his stuff together by then.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, there are, as we said before, the crinkly Vader costume putting Hayden in that didn't look great, and and things like that. But the general, like the battle and how he goes in the end, is proper brutal. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be that. Shit, he's on fire. It's proper hard going.
One good thing about Revenge of the Sith is it starts in the most epic way, like that huge battle at the end, the ending battle of the Clone Wars. And the film, when you think about it, kind of goes down like that in terms of its pace, but it never bores you. It never bores me anyway.
Yeah.
And at the end,
it is my favorite opening of the Star Wars movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
I remember being very excited
because of the action.
Yeah. It does smack you in the face, that opening.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think Brian might have nailed it there. Pro Disney disinfo.
That article. That's
exactly what that article is.
Yeah.
Probably is. Yeah. So I just need to get this going for a second. Yeah, I mean, what's your favorite moment in Revenge of the Sith?
Ooh. It's just got to be Anakin versus Obi. It's got to be Matt. He was just asking us what's our favorite moment of Revenge of the Sith, and it's got to be Anakin versus Obi-Wan. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I love that whole sequence, like Sidious and Yoda as well.
Yeah.
I love how goofy the Emperor is because he's so happy. Like the Emperor's, Palpatine's been so patient for so many years. Pretty much all his Sith life, he's never revealed himself. So this is his moment, and he's just loving it. And the fact that he's
a schoolboy.
He is. Even when he gets force pushed by Yoda near the beginning, he's like, being quite goofy and silly. But then
he was never happy, even when he was a schoolboy. Yeah.
I have never been happy.
Yeah, my little green friend.
The one thing I don't like about Yoda in Revenge of the Sith is he diminishes the Imperial Royal Guards. He just walks in and goes,
yeah.
And I was like, oh, I thought they were super. When they're so badass in Return of the Jedi, they're so quiet and they move so slow, and they're just so calm looking that you think they're terrifying. They must be super powerful to be around Palpatine. But then Revenge of the Sith undoes that for me, so I don't like it.
Ross Monroe, hello there.
Ross. Hi, Ross.
Also, oh, cool. Also, we've got Jason Thomas said, I love seeing Death Trooper clones.
Also, Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, does he mean in Revenge of the Sith? Because we don't have any Death Trooper clones, do we? Do we have those?
There's the blue ones that start the clones that storm the temple with Anakin. Maybe you think it's them.
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, because the clones look more like stormtroopers in Revenge of the Sith compared to Attack of the Clones, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Like a hybrid of the two.
Agreed. So, yeah, are we ready to? Oh, bugger! Hang on a minute. I just need to do that. Right, Matt, get revved up.
Why? What's going to happen?
Well, it's time for. Whoa!
Here we go.
I will be ready to fight if we disagree. Lightsabers at the ready.
Here we go. Are we ready?
Go on.
And light match touch paper. Here we go. So this is from boundingintocomics.com. Star Wars editor details Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi attempted to consciously undo The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens editor Marion Brandon and Mary Jo Markey recently detailed their thoughts on Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. The two, who have worked with The Force Awakens director J.J. Abrams on a number of films and TV shows, including Mission Impossible 3, Star Trek 2009, Super 8, and Alias, appeared on the Light the Fuse podcast, where they were quite candid on their opinion of Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. The beginning of the third part of the interview with the Light the Fuse podcast begins with them answering whether or not they liked The Last Jedi. Brandon replies first saying, I liked parts of The Last Jedi. Yeah. She adds, The Last Jedi was a different take on the Star Wars saga. To Ryan's credit, he stuck to what he wanted to do. He wanted to deconstruct the film and open it up to go in a different direction. And that is the film he made, Brandon detailed. She continued, I know it is controversial. Isn't that kind of good in a way? That's why I say I feel very much in hindsight, the last part of the trilogy needed one vision. One vision! Markey didn't beat around the bush. She stated, I couldn't agree more. It's very strange to have the second film so consciously undo the story of the first one. That's what it felt like. When confronted with the idea that many fans felt The Rise of Skywalker undid The Last Jedi, Markey responded, it took where the second film ended and tried to tell a story. I didn't feel like it was consciously trying to. It didn't feel that way to me. The host then described The Last Jedi as polarizing, and Brandon runs with it. I agree. I think it is really polarizing, and I think it was hard to know for the writer and JJ what to do with it. It's like if somebody wrote the middle of your novel, and it's like, okay, how do I get to the end of the novel? Questions Brandon. From there, Brandon and Marky go on to discuss the big action films they've been part of and how a lot of films are created in the cutting room. I think any big film, action, adventure, sci-fi, all of these films, they're very hard to get on paper. I think as editors, in my experience, you end up doing so much work in the cutting room because you can't really write these things out. She elaborates. It's like, they go to the thing and they have a battle on this planet, and then the battle becomes a story in itself. But on paper, it's not quite a story. It's just kind of a sequence of shots, and you are dealing with visual effects, and you are dealing with cohesiveness, and you're trying to keep a story alive, and it gets big. I think that's why those kind of films spend so much time in the editing room. Brandon's idea that Disney's Star Wars trilogy needed one vision is one that many fans believed it would have, and it appears at one point there was a clear vision until Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. As reported by IGN, actress Daisy Ridley, who played Rey, detailed to French publication Geek Le Mag that Abrams had drafts of the of 7, 8, and 9, but the draft for 8 was discarded due to Johnson writing his own script for The Last Jedi. Daisy Ridley stated, "Here's what I think I know. JJ wrote episode 8 as well as drafts for 9 and 10. Then Rian Johnson, sorry, I got the numbers wrong there, but you know what I'm talking about. Rian Johnson arrived and JJ then Rian Johnson arrived and wrote The Last Jedi entirely." She added, "I believe there was some sort of general consensus on the main lines of the trilogy, but apart from that, every director writes and realizes his film in his own way." Ridley continued, "Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams met to discuss all of this, although episode 8 is still very his very own work. I believe Rian didn't keep anything from the first draft of that script. But before we go on to this stage, we know that Disney threw out George Lucas's initial treatments, blah, blah, blah." Yeah. So there's all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on just a little bit. It then detailed. Oh, yeah, that's not using George's outline. What's even more shocking is that the leadership team is still in place and is continuing to run Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy is still the president of Lucasfilm. Alan Horn is still the chief creative officer and co-chairman of the Walt Disney Company. And Bob Iger is the newly appointed executive chairman of the Walt Disney Company with a focus on Disney's creative endeavors. And go!
Right. Well, this is where my issue with a sequel trilogy is that it's a clunky mess. It started off good with The Force Awakens. It wasn't brilliant.
I agree. I liked it. A lot.
It was good enough for the reboot, if you like. It was, a continuation of the Star Wars story. And then, like in the article, I do agree with that article. The second movie does not follow on. Obviously, there was an outline to the story, I think, what that it was saying. JJ wrote, and it was tossed out. Johnson wanted to do his own thing, and that's why it feels so clunky. It went in completely different directions. I mean, it just doesn't follow on to me.
Yeah.
Admittedly, The Force Awakens ended in a way that was hard to follow on from, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what do you do with Luke, I suppose?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, with Luke, if he's still Force sensitive, so these are the decisions you'd have to make as a writer. Okay, if he's still Force sensitive and a Jedi, that means he knows that Han was murdered, and he knows that Leia's in peril, and the Resistance are on a knife edge. That makes Luke even more of an arsehole for not getting involved.
True.
So he has to discover that at the beginning of The Last Jedi. And Ryan did show him crying and getting upset, but it was cut from the movie, which I don't agree with at all. But it was there in his script, his idea. So for me, that's canonical. It means Luke was upset about Han. Go on, Matt. Sorry.
But you could have gone in a completely different direction to what Rian Johnson did and say Luke did know all these things, but he couldn't do anything about it because he was stranded on the island.
Yeah.
He couldn't get off. He couldn't get off the island, and there's nobody he could communicate to in case the First Order found him or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
He was wearing his Jedi robes at the end of the Force Awakens, so everybody thought he's a Jedi master. You know, and he's been found. He's back into the fight. You know, and
me and Paddy were thinking. We were talking about this many yonks ago when the Force Awakens was out, and I was saying to Paddy, my theory was that Obi-Wan, he feels like at the end of Force Awakens, he shut himself off from the Force, etc. And he's more like Obi-Wan Kenobi in The New Hope. So I'm thinking, is he looking at is he looking after somebody from afar? The next chosen one. And I thought the twist was going to be that Rey isn't the new Jedi of this trilogy, and it's this secret character on this island that Luke's protecting. And Luke and Luke has to sacrifice his Han and Leia, because that's what Yoda says in Empire Strikes Back. If you honor what they fight for, yes. And you didn't do that last time. Obviously, what happened in Return of the Jedi is fine with what Luke did. Yoda was wrong, but then Yoda could come back in Last Jedi and said, "No, this is what I was talking about. You can't go help. You can't go help your friends. You've got to protect the Jedi Order." That's what my episode 8 would have been. Which would have been. I know this is ridiculous.
Awesome.
it's quite biased. I know. By the way, I've not read that anywhere. That's just
no.
But you know, it's quite a simple idea. I wouldn't be surprised. What's that?
That would have been smart. Yeah, true.
That would have been smart. Yeah, Jason says. And it would not have ruined the character of Luke Skywalker. It would have shown how he'd grown and matured, rather than go back to his original arc where he's making all these silly mistakes.
Well, that's the thing. I said at the end of Force Awakens, I don't want him to just be Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. It's like he's so much older now. And look at the change that happens in a few months between A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. Like Luke and Jedi is so much more awesome than he is in Empire. So what would happen after 30 years? And that's...
Exactly. Obviously, he'd been beaten and taken his lumps from the First Order and Kylo Ren and Snoke and all that. He'd gone away from all that to... Mark Hamill said it himself. He'd gone away to dust himself off, gather his thoughts, and then get back into the fight somehow. Yeah, he was stranded on the island for whatever reason. Obviously, I think it was Jason who said in the chat, self-isolating. Mark Hamill said himself. I'd lost my train of thought then.
Sorry. Mark Hamill said that he was going to go away and.
A Jedi wouldn't do that. A Jedi wouldn't give up. They might stumble and have to go away and think about something, but they would not give up. Yeah. And obviously he's walked that back a wee bit since, probably because the mouse has had a word with him. But that's always been in my mind. The Jedi wouldn't give up. They wouldn't give up on the friends. They wouldn't give up on anything. Like you say, if he was protecting somebody, a secret character or what have you, that would have made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Or either that, or he was stranded on the island. He couldn't get off. He'd gone there to discover something, and he couldn't get away until somebody came to find him. And that's why he left the map.
Well, that's why I thought while I was watching The Last Jedi, he can't leave this island. He just can't. Why is he not going? Why is he not doing anything, etc.? He can't leave. But the other thing about Luke is, I forgot what I was going to say. It was going to be really good. I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say.
God damn it.
Why was Snoke so afraid of Luke in The Last Jedi? He's very afraid of Luke Skywalker. So I thought, must be some kind of conflict. And maybe they're afraid of each other, but that didn't pay off either.
No, there's absolutely no payoff with that. And then...
The Last Jedi sets up some, I know you two don't like it, but it sets up some awesome stuff like that and then doesn't deliver on it. And I'm right, Ryan, you put the work in, deliver on it, but then JJ ignored it. JJ returned the favor.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is why I'm not so keen on the last movie, because everything is so clunky and doesn't follow on from each other. I just can't like it.
Either
I appreciate things you were trying to do in a way, and what have you, but I'll always go back to the prequel trilogy and the OT if I want a decent Star Wars trilogy. It's just they could have done so much with this sequel trilogy and they didn't. I think they failed.
So someone, we've got a comment here. Sorry, go on, Andy.
There's someone who really likes Star Wars who I know, Matt, and he not this Matt, a different Matt, and he was like with me. He likes The Last Jedi, like The Force Awakens, has liked everything up to this point. But The Rise of Skywalker was the end for him, and after it, he was so upset with it. He said episodes 1 to 6 are Star Wars. That's it.
Yeah.
And it was really shocking for him to say that because of how much me and him had talked about how much we like The Last Jedi. But he said something, and I agree with him completely. Either that trilogy is JJ's trilogy or it's Ryan's trilogy, one or the other. Not collaboration.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, they were like that. Those two. It was like rappers have diss tracks. Like one diss is one rapper, the other returns a favour with another diss track.
Yeah,
it's like that, but with movies.
I will stick up for Johnson on this I think he's a very good writer and director because of I think Looper's brilliant and he's done some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad, and I think most people agree with that. But The Last Jedi is a bit of an inconsistent in his canon of work. For me.
I mean, who was it recently? The actor who plays Darth Maul, who does a voice for Darth Maul,
Peter Serafinowicz.
Yeah, he got screwed over.
No.
Oh, Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer. Did you hear what he said recently?
He took over, didn't he?
Yeah. He says he felt like The Last Jedi was written by somebody who didn't do their homework.
You see,
Star Wars homework.
If you watch The Last Jedi, I understand why he's saying that. But if you know Ryan Johnson, Ryan knows Star Wars like a bit like Dave Filoni, actually, in a way, which is why The Last Jedi surprises me so much. I'm like, all this inside out.
Do you think he was trying to be too clever with it and too?
I think he was afraid of the rehash idea. And if when Force Awakens came out, if someone said to me, "Oh, Last Jedi, they're really pushing it away," I'm like, brilliant, good. We've got The Force Awakens. It's rebooted Star Wars, like you said. I think it's the right way to go. The Force Awakens, personally, I like it. But now it's time to venture out. But Ryan Johnson didn't just turn left.
Not at the expense of ruining characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially like major characters like Luke Skywalker.
Let's go to some of the comments here.
Yeah.
I think it was Last Jedi. Ghost Yoda made an appearance and changed the way Luke thought, but I wish he was even more important.
What, Yoda's more important?
You wish Yoda was more important?
I think
that's what he
was.
That's one of the best scenes in that film as well.
He's saying Yoda appeared and made Luke change his ways, but that's just that's repeating what's happened before, isn't it? Really? I mean, at this point in Luke's life, he should be Yoda. You know what I mean? He should be wise. He should know all about Jedi's.
Yeah, he should do. Yeah,
he's a Grand Master.
Some say Snoke is Mace Windu because he has cuts and looks half dead, and Mace's saber was purple, which was a light and dark color.
I think everybody had every speculation under the sun about Snoke. Every single character. I saw an article saying before The Last Jedi came out that Snoke is Mace Windu, Snoke is Palpatine. Well, he was Palpatine. Snoke is Grand Moff Tarkin. Snoke is Darth Vader, etc.
What does the music tell us?
In
Force Awakens.
He's Palpatine or Darth Plagueis. More Darth Plagueis.
Darth Plagueis.
Yeah. Which is, rumor has it recently, I think Paddy mentioned, or you might on the show, that or I think I might have mentioned it, that Ryan Johnson changed Snoke's origin like it was Darth Plagueis, like JJ said in his script, it's Darth Plagueis. But Ryan, because people had worked it out, it's not that many Sith.
I think The Last Jedi was the right idea and not well executed.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, if people like The Last Jedi, that's fine. I personally don't. because, the main reason is Luke Skywalker. It just, to me, wasn't him. Well, it kind of was, but it was him from A New Hope, if you like, giving up and all this sort of stuff. So he shouldn't have been at that point in his life,
Whiny Luke.
But the reason I don't feel that strongly with Luke is I feel like, yeah, you're right. Everything that happens in The Last Jedi, I think we agree with. But at the end, I feel like we got Luke back. And now I've seen Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. I feel like Luke was there. He just needed a bit of guidance, and he fell. That's how I see it. And that's why I enjoy it.
He fell for years, though. That's my issue. Yeah, that's my issue.
But that's what I said going into The Last Jedi. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to say to a certain extent, the character arc of Han Solo was taken back to his original life as well, where he's out there as a smuggler and deadbeat and all this sort of stuff.
JJ had the foresight and Larry Kasdan to put that into the script, though. I went back to the only thing I knew, what I was good at. And then Leia says, we both did. And I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, they were never going to work out, them two. They're very different people. I'm not saying they don't love each other, etc., but, it was never going to work out. And I like that about The Force Awakens. That's
something I can live with. But
the characters are still the same, whereas Luke has changed a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. So there you go. Oh, hang on, Ross. I think it makes sense that Luke lost his way. He had no other practicing Jedi around him, and he always had his father's blood.
Well, that was the tension. That's a good point because that's the tension in Return of the Jedi. That Luke, people don't realize that George Lucas pays a lot of attention to design. So Luke is in white in A New Hope, and then he's in brown in Empire, and then he's completely black in Return of the Jedi, like his father. So it's just subconscious symbolism of the fact that he could go to the dark side. He could be the new Darth Vader. Could be the Emperor's apprentice. I've always found that interesting that he, but obviously Luke is. This is why I say Luke is the greatest Jedi ever, because he throws the lightsaber down and says never.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is different to tossing it over your shoulder.
Yeah, that was my biggest.
Because I've seen that argument. I've seen and heard that argument online many times.
That doesn't make any sense to compare them two together.
No, it doesn't to me, because one was in the heat of battle. It was a fight to the death as far as either one was concerned.
Yeah.
Luke pulled himself back from the brink after seeing what he could actually become, and then says, I'm rejecting that. No, you're never going to turn me. The other one was possibly having an inkling that his nephew might have some dark side tendencies, walking into his bedroom, lighting his lightsaber, and then, we know what happens then. But two completely different scenarios in my mind. But people compare the two, saying, "Oh, it's poetry. It's poetry."
Oh no, I don't see that as poetry. No.
Darth Bane will make an appearance in The Mandalorian season 2 or 3.
If they get rid of if they ignore the old EU, then the Bane could return. But Bane is very old. Like he's the Sith that created the Rule of Two, Master and Apprentice, which means he's got to be over 1,000 years old, at least. So he's got to be older than Yoda.
That would be.
I can't see that happening. That
would be cool though.
And the Sith, Lucas said the Sith can't return as ghosts as well.
No, that's right.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But they can, as of Rise of Skywalker, they can. Oh no, sorry, it's not Rise of Skywalker. There's some extended universe stuff where the Sith possess items, like Darth Momin's helmet, Lord Momin. Remember when we talked about him last year?
Oh yes, we did. We talked about that. Yeah.
The Momins.
The Momins. Darth Momins. That's right.
Yeah. Really inspires fear, Darth moment, doesn't it?
Moment. Does nothing.
Not
Does it?
moment.
I won't be a moment.
Just go. Look out! It's Darth moment. So anyway, we've got about 10 minutes left by the clock in general. So why don't we hop off the rant? Okay.
What we're going to?
And we're going to go
Moving on.
Move along.
Well, I don't know if you technically say this was a. Yeah, I suppose it is one of these.
So I first saw The Empire Strikes Back when I was 7 years old, and it remains to be the greatest. Sorry, that's not this segment, is it?
It is this segment.
Is it?
I just love how you were straight in there. That's
how I've been celebrating Empire Day, listening to John Williams soundtrack.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, but the thing is, I celebrate it every day since I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
I listen to the Imperial March far too much. I actually quiz myself and say, "You can't like a piece of music this much." Yes, I can.
Do you listen to it every? You listen to it every single day? That song.
Well, it's my ringtone. So yeah.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
So I suppose I do. Yeah. I can't get over it. I love it.
No. Yeah. It's the best thing about any Star Wars movie, really. You know, it's.
I can't believe
music.
40 years. It's just crazy.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, well, we don't really need to go there because it's totally about positivity. But like this, with the exception of the space slug that just goes like that when it's trying to get the Millennium Falcon. With the exception of that, I mean, it's pretty perfect, isn't it?
It is.
Even Mike at Red Letter Media says there's only one flaw in that film.
Go on.
And he says when General Veers is looking down at the hologram of Darth Vader, and he's like, Mike goes, "Look how intimidating I am," and it's just a tiny little hologram. And the camera's looking down on Vader as well. So yeah, but I don't see a problem with that.
Maybe that's why Veers sounds so casual as well when he
he's got his arms on his hips, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's just like we'll be over in a moment. You may start your landing, you know.
Hello, here's our new comedy character, Camp Vader. What have you been doing today, Camp Vader?
Apology accepted, Captain Vader.
I've been invading Hoth. What have you been doing?
Oh, it's getting a bit hot in here.
Really must think about wearing something else other than these leather pants.
So yeah. So apart from that, even the biggest critic of Star Wars, Red Letter Media, says that is the closest to a flawless film, Empire.
Yeah,
I think I have to agree.
I love the out of the big. I mean, there's in the other films that there might be reasons to not like parts of their character quite so much, but I think the big three, like everything that happens to them individually and together as characters, is the best that we get from the three of them. I think. I mean, yeah, Luke goes on to do more badass stuff in Return of the Jedi, but it's that point between him old Luke dying and him sort of properly becoming an apprentice and walking that fine line of like facing his demons and the dark side and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And Han Solo just seems to become even more arrogant and and he's and more put downs, but he just totally uses it to his advantage and wins Princess Leia over. And she's like, for me, is twice as like spunky as she is in A New Hope.
Yeah.
And And just like personally, I thought Carrie Fisher never looked more beautiful than she did in Empire Strikes Back. She just looks perfect in that film.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, the gold bikini, but to be honest, in a white snowsuit all day
Slave
long.
Leia.
All day long in the white suit.
I think Empire has the best acting performances from all them three as well.
That as well, yeah. I think maybe you can, knowing what we know now, I think maybe that's probably why the Leia and Solo stuff is so good.
Yeah,
because
real chemistry,
real chemistry,
Yeah,
and real tension. Because it was, I think we're pretty sure that it was over by then.
Yeah.
So there's that tension's there, isn't it? And you can see.
Harrison was married at that point, wasn't he?
He was married
to his second wife
in A New Hope. No, I don't know if he'd got married to Melissa Matheson yet.
Was that after Last Crusade?
No, I think it was around. I don't know if he'd met her before E.T. I think when he was, because he had that deleted role in E.T., didn't he? And
yes,
I think that's how he. I think that's.
You
how
know,
he met
I've only
Melissa
saw
Matheson.
that recently.
Have you never seen that?
Yeah,
I had no idea about it.
He's the headmaster.
Oh,
yeah, they stuck it.
You learn something new every day.
They stuck it on the 4K Blu-ray set, I think, and the not that one, the 20th anniversary or something.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool little scene. Plus, you can't
see him.
Yeah, they shoot around him. You don't see his face. It's just the voice and like his hands and stuff. They shoot around it in quite a clever way, but yeah, it hit the cutting room floor in the end. Hang on, Jason's just pointing something out. Yeah.
Oh no!
He's behind you.
Hello, Steve. Welcome back. 40
Hi,
years
Steve.
on, and it's still my favorite Star Wars movie. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Same. Well, yeah.
I don't think it'll. I genuinely don't. I know this is a really arrogant and silly thing to say, but I think you two will agree with me. I don't think it'll ever be knocked off its pedestal.
No.
Ever.
Said that
probably not. No.
Because anything that's like it will get compared. Like, nobody wants anything that's like it. They want something fresh and new. But I don't think anything fresh and new is going to be. I think the problem with Star Wars, I've said this before, is it's been done. And I made my peace with that. And that the original trilogy, nothing will ever get close to that again. And I'm happy with whatever comes next.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get negative. I want to stay positive with my Empire.
Yeah. Well, let's not get negative, but we should definitely. I've just realised that we didn't actually address it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in tonight. You're probably thinking, isn't Darth Vader supposed to be here?
He's here. What are you talking about?
Where's Spencer Wilding? Spencer, just before the show, gave me a bell, and something come up. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it, but he promises to be here next week, and he wants you all to get your questions prepared and stuff. It was just something that he couldn't get out of. He's got his dates mixed up and didn't realize until the last minute. And he did actually offer to send someone else in his stead, but I said don't worry, we'll just hold off.
We didn't have time for George Lucas.
No, I said he offered me Rian Johnson, and I just said,
yeah.
I said, I know we're in different
week.
locations, but I think Matt might even be able to force project himself once he knows what Rian Johnson's location is.
To be honest with you, I know this will never happen, but if I ever got to talk to Rian Johnson, I'd obviously be very polite, courteous.
And then you kill him.
What was his? No, like what his thinking was behind all that character assassination. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. No.
So we will have Spencer next week. So yeah, get your questions ready.
Yeah. Get your questions ready about Rogue One. I think Rogue One is the only thing that's come close to Empire Strikes Back.
Ross, I agree.
To the OT. To the OT.
Yeah. Rogue One. Like Paddy was kind enough to take me to a press screening of that. He won tickets to it, and I kind of just wore him down, and he was like, "Right, fine, I'll take you." And so Paddy knows how much I love Rogue One.
It's brilliant. It is my favorite new movie.
So the reason I'm mentioning it is for people who don't know, Spencer was Darth Vader in Rogue One, and the scene where he's coming down towards Director Krennic, that's Spencer in the outfit, and I teared up. The breathe just. I don't need to talk about it. Everyone, you can watch the film. Everyone knows. But as soon as the thing starts going up with the shadow, and then the Imperial March kicks in, and you hear the breeze, and then he starts walking very, very slowly. I will say for Spencer, he almost got that David Prowse walk. I think he looks like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Which I know only proper fans would ever really care about, but it did feel Vader.
Yeah,
he did.
He channeled Vader, didn't he?
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to speak to him next week. It'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
And Andy, you'll have to reenact that scene. You'll have to memorize Krennic's lines and reenact that scene with Spence.
I love how they open it when he goes, Director Krennic, and he goes, Lord Vader. It feels a bit gangster. Yeah, Italian gangster, like introducing each other.
Yeah.
It's almost like gunslinging, almost that scene.
Yeah.
Someone was watching that clip on YouTube today, actually, of Vader. I was trying to find a picture of Vader with Spencer in the outfit to cut it out, and one of the comments underneath was saying James Earl Jones does a good job, and you can tell he is older. I never had a problem with the James Earl Jones performance in Rogue One. I thought it sounded fine.
Yes.
I think you can tell it's older, but it's still fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Palpatine was alive for years, so Bane could too. Anyone can survive. Darth Maul survives. Darth Vader survived.
Just bring them all back.
Bring them all back.
Bring them all back.
That's the problem with resurrecting characters, is the drama of them dying in the film or book or whatever story it is in Star Wars. It kind of undoes it. And it's one thing I love. What Dave Filoni says in Star Wars Rebels. Somebody said to him, put more Vader in it. And he said, I'd love to. He said, obviously, who doesn't love Darth Vader? But every time I put him into a story, I have to kill characters. Because if I don't kill them, it diminishes Vader's power, because he is very powerful. And I was like, now that's responsibility.
That is responsibility. Yeah.
Great power comes great
because
responsibility.
I would fire at him and just say, more Vader. And then he says that to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm disappointed, but I agree with your sentiment. Like, why are you not doing it?
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
That's why I do not want to be involved in writing Star Wars, because this is the thing. Someone said, people who don't like Rogue One, like Red Letter Media and people like that, have said it's the greatest Star Wars fan film. And I say everything past George Lucas's saga is a fan film now.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah,
it's unlikely someone's going to be in the director's chair or the writing team who isn't a Star Wars fan. It's very unlikely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Leave him alone. I like him.
I'm just kidding. That's to mention that.
I've never seen the making of that movie, but I probably never will, because I've heard that laugh too many times.
Have you seen it before? The
making of no
Last Jedi?
No, not seen it.
You should watch it.
It's actually very good. It's possible.
I've seen snippets of it, but I can't watch it because I just know I'll end up, I don't know, punching a wall or something.
I think you should watch it.
Lots of shots of Hamill looking not very happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I will say about that documentary is it's very honest, and it doesn't try to very much like the making of the Phantom Menace. There's a documentary called The Beginning, which is over an hour long, and it's very honest. The whole thing. Yeah, I can't believe Lucas let that clip go in it. I may have gone too far in a few places. A lot of people say Rebels is trash, but I say it's a piece of art.
I like Rebels.
Rebels is good, but I prefer the Clone Wars. I prefer
the Clone Wars too. But
just to be that person who compares. But I think it's a little bit unfair to compare them.
I
Very
think there's another season of Rebels being made as well. I've heard on the grapevine.
I thought it was up.
Maybe.
Well, I did as well, but I don't know. I keep hearing things, and they're all rumors. So
I mean,
shovel of salt.
So it feels a bit final. Back to Empire. Sorry.
Yeah, coming back round to Empire just to finish off. What's your favourite moment?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask this. Revenge of the Sith's easy.
Very hard to do.
No, it actually isn't difficult, and it's a very boring answer.
Go on.
I'm your father.
Yeah.
That whole sequence is just. There's very, very little dialogue between Luke and Vader, but the dialogue that is
the fight's awesome.
Yeah.
It is.
Don't need to talk about it. It's just.
I agree.
Same scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again,
that and Yoda.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can pick out a single one. It'd probably be a few bits and pieces, but y'all know my favorite. Like one of my favorite scenes is the apology. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I'll accept full responsibility for losing them and apologize to Lord Vader.
The problem is, if you go through the film. If you go through the film, like Battle of Hoth is incredible, the asteroid field is incredible, Yoda, Dagobah is incredible.
Yeah.
It's when I went to see Empire Strikes Back at the Albert Hall, my friend who came with me, who's not seen Empire for quite a long time since he was a kid, I think, and he was talking about the cave scene of the dream. And that's just after that, that's where they have an interval. And he said something I'd never really thought about, but he said that was like a scene out of a Kubrick film. It didn't feel like Star Wars, but not like, oh, that's not Star Wars. It just had this really otherworldly feel to it. And I've never really thought of it like that. And when I've come back to watch it again and again and again and again, I agree with him. It is quite a special, unique scene, but I feel like that about the whole film. It has a very different aesthetic to A New Hope.
It does. Have you heard the story of Mark having to keep a secret for months? Yeah, he tells that on the Graham Norton thing, doesn't it? It was pretty good, actually. That
he says
Ford punches in the back and goes, "Hey kid, you didn't fucking tell me that."
Yeah. Then Hamill says, I only use the F-bomb for historical accuracy.
Yeah.
Here we go. We got some comments from people's favorite moments. Favorite moment in Empire Strikes Back is the Hoth battle. Yeah, it's good. It's
yes.
Great. Yeah, Battle of Hoth.
The thing is, just on that Battle of Hoth.
Go on.
Go on. Just while we're on the Battle of Hoth, Kevin Smith says, and I agree with him as well, Empire Strikes Back, the Battle of Hoth is way cooler than the Battle of Yavin, the Death Star battle in A New Hope. Even though the Death Star is mechanically incredible and powerful, just a few of them walkers was even more epic and cool. And I've always thought, I agree with him, but I think it's because you can see the cameras looking up and you can see how small the rebels are running away and the walkers are just so big. I think that's the difference, the dynamic contrast between the two.
Yeah, it's more dynamic, isn't it? For sure.
What's the next comment?
Carbon freezing of Han. Yeah. Asteroid field. Yeah. Vader's revealed. To mention. Yeah. I've got a little.
The whole movie is just brilliant.
The carbon freezing. Yeah. I mean, I
love you.
I almost cry every time I see that because I remember. I remember the feeling I had 40 years ago in the cinema watching it at 2 years old at that moment.
You think he's dead, don't you?
Han Solo's gone. I was heartbroken. I was crestfallen.
Yeah.
Just like it was like I think that's almost what happened to me in the cinema when we watched The Force Awakens. It was like an acid flashback.
Yeah.
To 40. It was like, no, again. You know, I just remember being so heartbroken.
Yeah.
So you were distraught.
One of the other little moments though that I like, and it's kind of a semi throwaway thing, is when Han and Leia are in the cockpit together.
Don't get excited.
Yeah, Captain being held by you isn't quite enough to get me excited. Sorry, sweetheart, haven't got time for anything else. That's I think quite possibly my favorite Han Solo line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just so. on the nose.
This is the problem.
You know it, baby. You know you.
And did George write that? Was that one of George's?
I very much doubt it.
Unlikely. Very unlikely.
That's what I was thinking.
It's probably been Kazdan that.
Yeah.
Or that late.
If it had done that, if George had written that scene, if George had wrote that scene, what would Han have said? I wonder.
I'm just going into the. I'm just going to check the hyperdrive. See you in a bit. Probably. Yeah. I'm just going to go check the. Because Han says the Falcon, but Lucas is the kind of person who would be like the YT 1300 freighter, etc.
Yeah.
That'd be it. Soundtrack's incredible to it, as is every Star Wars film. Very true, Scott. Very true. Very true.
Very true. And then I would even add the Last Jedi soundtrack is still that's the best thing of the movie to me.
Yeah, the Scott Williams is just untouchable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there you go. We'll see you for the next 40 years. You think we'll be?
I hope so.
We'll be back here at 82 years old.
Yeah, we'll have holograms. There'll be holograms.
Like, the problem with the Last Jedi is 40 years ago.
I feel like have you seen the Indiana Jones 4 episode of South Park where they go to watch the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Everyone's like ripping it, and they're saying basically Indiana Jones is being raped. But when you two mention The Last Jedi, I feel like Butters, because at the end of all the rants, Butters is just at the corner of the screen. He goes, "I thought it was pretty good." I feel like Butters. I thought it was pretty good. I'll be there in 40 years' time. I thought it was pretty good. I'll probably talk like Palpatine when I'm that age. I thought it was good.
I hope so. Right. So, well, I think we've celebrated Empire Strikes Back now, and we've taken an extra 15 minutes to give it some respect, which I think it deserves.
Yeah, absolutely. I might go watch it now.
Ever made, and it will never be topped. I might even do that as well. I don't know if dig my DVD out, or I might even just sign up to Disney Plus just so I can just watch it in HD.
I think you should watch the new print. I think you'll be very impressed by the new print. In fact, just do it. Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
I will do that.
Yeah.
I was toying with the idea of what continuing my Peter Sellers season and watching a film called Being There, which was his last film.
On Empire Day, how dare you?
On Empire, yeah.
Maybe we'll just have to whack Empire Strikes Back on.
It's only 2 hours long.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I'm dying to know what you think of the new print.
Yeah, well, that is another good excuse for to watch it. Not that you need an excuse to watch Empire Strikes Back.
It kicks the Blu-ray's ass from 2011.
So, sorry, sweetheart. We haven't got time for anything else. That's the end of the show, folks. So, we'll be back next week. Spencer promises he will return. He'll be back. Well, no, he won't return. He'll just be here for the first time, but he'll be here next week. So get your questions in. Be ready, and he will be here. Our 7-day free trial. That's very true. The new print. Sorry, just quickly answering these questions. Yeah, that's it. What Andy means is the new remastered versions that have gone onto Disney Plus and on the Skywalker Saga set. The OT has been played with significantly, and so as the prequel trilogy. Okay,
for the better, actually.
For the better,
yeah, they do look better,
and it's not McClunky at all.
All right.
You half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Who's scruffy-looking? Good night, folks.
Okay.
See you next time.
See you later, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.
May the force be with you. Bye.
Be with you.
Bye.